All right, regulators, Aaron Montgomery here with today's secret sauce. And are you guys ready to get a little rebellious? Let's get a little crazy, right? For all of you super serious small business owners, this might sound crazy. We need to start planning for joy, right? Yep, crazy. Let's get wild and crazy. Some business owners have a plan. I honestly wish more did, but it is what it is. Most business owners at least have a general vision or a list or two. They have jobs to quote, they have orders to ship, they have fires to put out, they have revenue to hit. We're really good at planning our jobs. We're really bad at planning our joy. Somewhere along the way, the business plan became the production plan, and it tells you what you need to do, but it completely ignores how you want to feel while doing it, right? And that's a problem I want to solve. So how can we fall in love with what we get to do again? And my belief is when fulfillment isn't planned, it gets postponed. And postponed fulfillment quietly turns into resentment, burnout, or feeling that the business you built is now stealing from you instead of serving you. Does anybody have a low paying or no paying job that is stealing all of your time? Right? I think a lot of us can raise our hand there. And so let's get crazy. Let's get a little wild. Let's shake it up a bit. Let's plan our joy, not just our jobs. So in my fundamental formula that comes out of the book, one of the core truths is clarity creates fulfillment. But clarity just isn't about numbers and goals. It's also about knowing what energizes you, what restores you, and what makes the work worth it. Here's the big realization that changed things for me. This isn't a time management problem. It's not even a priority management problem, right? We're going one step further. It's actually an energy management problem. And here's the aha that hit me a little hard and might hit you a little hard. If it's not on your calendar or in your plan, it's not a priority. It's just a wish, right? So you can say joy matters all day long, but your calendar actually tells the truth. So in the fundamental formula, one of the things that we want to look at here is clarity isn't just about those KPIs. If your plan only answers what do I need to do to make money, but never answers what do I do to stay human, right? Then it's incomplete. And so I want to give you a practical way really quick here. Over the next 90 days, just like short and sweet, I want you to add one non-revenue goal, just one. And I want you to turn that into a joy anchor. And so when I say joy anchor, there's three things that I look for in a joy anchor. First, it's got to be scheduled. Otherwise, it's not an anchor. Second, it's got to be repeatable, something you can do over and over. And third, it's got to give you energy, no matter what. Even if it is repetitive, it's got to bring you back some energy. And so it might look something like blocking off one afternoon where you have no meetings, right? That's what works for me. I love meeting with people, but I also need to recharge. And so I block off time intentionally for myself with no meetings, none of that. It also might look like a protected day off every month with zero guilt, right? Sometimes we take a day off, but we are so guilty that we're not quote unquote working that we don't actually enjoy it. And so we got to make sure there's no guilt associated with that. Maybe it's time set aside to learn something that you actually enjoy. Maybe it's spending time weekly reconnecting with your why, the reason that you started this business in the first place, right? Maybe it's giving yourself some margin that you build into your schedule so you're not always behind, right? That was also something that helped me a lot. Is I tended to go back to back to back to back. Well, now I leave intentional space between meetings, just some margin to kind of breathe, to get back on track. And this is not just woo-woo talk, right? This is totally strategic. Business energy is an asset, and when it's depleted, everything costs you more, including your patience, your creativity, your leadership. When you don't have energy, they're all down. So there's a cost to not doing this. And here's what I learned the hard way is that we can hit revenue goals and still feel empty. You can grow a business quietly and shrink as a human, right? But when fulfillment is actually intentionally planned, something really powerful happens. You start making better decisions, you say no faster, you lead with more patience, and the work starts to feel meaningful again. Your business plan needs to be living, not something you set once and forget, but something that reflects what you need in this season. And if you're not thinking, I'll I'm sorry, if you are thinking I'll plan joy later once things slow down, they won't. The truth of the matter is they won't until you stop and get intentional. The business will always take more if you let it. But if we challenge ourselves, and so I want to do that, challenge yourself, look at your next 90 days, add one joy anchor, write it down, put it on your calendar, protect it like your revenue depends on it, because it does. And that's my secret sauce for today.